Sorted here. There we go. Fantastic. So there's a guy that's got this car. And this car doesn't run very well, and he knows that the car hasn't run very well for a very, very long time. All his family, all his friends, his place of employment, everybody knows that this car is pretty unreliable. But still, he feels that he can keep it running. You know, he gets under there and works on it, and, you know, from day to day, he finds some way to get it started. Some days it doesn't run, but some days it does. And he knows that this car needs a deep group of repairs, but he does nothing. Day after day, he just does nothing. One day he's driving this car in the middle of town, and it's a typical Ohio summer, right? So what do we have in Ohio? We have orange barrels, right? Lots of orange barrels. And he's in the middle of town. He's driving through a road construction, and it's a long line getting into it, long line getting out, and guess what happens? His car fails. Right when he doesn't need it to fail, right when he's the guy that's holding up all the traffic, he finally, once and for all, has to admit to himself that he's powerless over fixing that car. Step one, we admit that we're powerless and we can't fix that car, so to speak. Well, before you know it, he's sitting there and the flagmen are waving at him. He's getting nervous. He's looking at the bag of leftover fast food he's got on his front seat because he often, you know, finds himself in that car for a long period of time. But next thing you know, there's a knock. Sorry, man. And it's a buddy of his. It's amazing. So his buddy says to him, "Hey, dude, man, that car, what's wrong?" He said, "Yeah, man, it's not working. I finally have to admit to myself that's not going to work." He says, "You're in luck, you know, because I know a guy. He's right down the street, and if we really try right now, you and I can help push that car. We can push that car. And there's a guy, he's got a backyard garage, all kinds of tools, you know. Come on, man, let's go push the car." And he stops and thinks to himself, wait a minute, there's a guy, there's a power that's greater than me that can fix this car. Step two, came to believe that there is a power that's not you that can fix that car. Now, in a traditional 12-step program, you know, we like to be able to say that power is of your own making, of your own mind. But all you really have to know about that power is that it's not you. For me and my story, I had to admit that all the pronouns I was using, I got this. Me, man, if I can just not drink on Tuesdays and just drink Fridays and not drink that dark liquor, you know, because that dark liquor make you crazy. I'm gonna drink that light liquor, it burns clean. I'm not going to drink over at that place because they pour heavy. I'm not going to drink with her because she's the problem. I was using all the pronouns, I, me, and my. Well, back to the guy in the car, you know, he's sitting there in a hot summer day, the bag of food on the ground starting to smell bad, and his buddy's laughing at him. He finally admits to himself that he can't do it on his own, and there is a power that can fix it. And then here's the most important part. Here's the most important part from my life. Here's the most important part for all you out there listening right now. He stopped for a moment and made a decision and turned to his friend and said, "Yeah, man, let's push that car." Willingness. Became willing to turn that car over to a power that was greater than him that could fix that car for him. Good evening, everybody. My name is Marc Lee Shannon. I'm sober 9 years and 1 day today. I'm a father. I'm a soon-to-be husband. I'm a peer recovery supporter in the state of Ohio, which is a recovery coach. I'm not a therapist. I'm not a counselor. I'm not a physician. I'm not a clinician. All I am is just some Joe that's at the front door that helps you when you make that decision to take your car and get it fixed. I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about, what it was like for me, because if you're out there and you're listening, you know that all of us have the same thing in mind, right? We all want the same thing. Whether you are in recovery from drugs, from alcohol, from substance use disorder, or you are dealing with some mental health issues, we all want the same thing. All humans on this earth want the same thing, and that is we all want less suffering, don't we? We just want less suffering. And on June 2nd, 2014, I entered a detox facility at the bottom of my choices to get that car fixed. And it was terrible. Day one, I was on the phenobarbital, and all I can remember is hearing music outside my door, and it wasn't great music. It was like, no disrespect intended, brother, I know you had a hit single with this, but I kept hearing Achy Breaky Heart over and over again. That's not really funny, It's a great song, but I can't do the steps, and I don't have the haircut. I kept asking the nurses, are you sure you don't hear somebody out there talking? They're like, no, Mr. Shannon, there's no one outside your door. Day two, I finally quit messing myself, because when I quit drinking, my body said evacuate everything. It was humiliating and embarrassing to be in detox and to have that happen over and over again. Days three, I got up and ate tomato soup. And kinder people than I had ever met in my life sat down with me to explain to me that I was not a bad person, that I had a medical and a mental health issue that needed to be treated. You see, because what I've learned about substance use disorder and mental health issues is they're very much like all other diseases. There's 4 primary steps. Step 1, it's primary. I am not an alcoholic and an addict because I am a diabetic. I am not an alcoholic and addict because I fell on my head as a kid. There is a predisposition genetically that some of us have, that some of us do not have. When I played baseball as a kid, one of my best friends had to carry an EpiPen because if he got stung by a bee, he went into shock. Why is that? Because some of us are made differently. The second thing that I know about the disease model of addiction and substance use disorder is that it is chronic. Without treatment, all you people out there in treatment centers, without treatment, you will not get well. The third is that it's chronic and it's progressive. Every time I told myself I was going to get sober without treatment, it got worse. And finally, if you don't do anything, you'll end up like me. I'd ask you to take a look up here at this person right now with this very nice ascot on. 3 trips to the ICU. 3. You know what happens when a diabetic, type 2 diabetic drinks straight vodka for 11 days straight and only eats a Burger King chicken sandwich? You're gonna die. That was my story. And finally, if you don't get treatment, you're gonna end up as one of those people that we wish we could have reached. And I've committed myself, since I came out of detox, to try and communicate the message that recovery is possible. Let me tell you briefly what my life is like today, because we want to play some music. Is that all right with you guys? Play some music? Like I said before, I am sober 9 years and 1 day today. But if you'd have told me 9 years and 2 days ago that I'd be standing here at the Rock and Roll Family with this band that I'm about to play for, playing these songs that came out of I don't know where, if you'd have told me that that was possible, I would have bet against you. Because I had tried everything. I had tried everything. And somehow, through a miracle of a good treatment program and people that loved me until I could love myself, and a 12-step program, all of those things have brought me here today. And I want to just finish this by saying to you, I want to explain to you a little bit about what my life is like in recovery. If you go over to my merch table over there, Diana's over there waving, you can see it because it's got a green neon sign. And there's a green neon sign because often I'm left to myself wandering and chasing squirrels and shiny metal objects, so it's good to know where the green thing is. But I want to tell you, if you want, you can grab one of these pencils if the message comes through to you. And I'd love to be able to tell you that this is something I came up with myself, but I did find it on the internet late at night one night. See, my life in recovery is like this pencil. A pencil is a very useful, practical tool, but something has to happen to it and continue to happen to it, or it's just not useful. What is that? You got to sharpen it, right? Now, I would imagine that if I was this pencil and I could feel like this pencil can, putting it in a sharp bunch of metal blades would be pretty uncomfortable, right? But there's simply no way to get this tool to be used unless it's sharpened. So yes, out there, if you are in a treatment center and you're feeling uncomfortable right now, I can guarantee you it will get better. But the things that you're going through right now, you will have to continue to do. On the other side of this pencil is an eraser. This is my favorite part. You know why? Because I can turn my mistakes into lessons. I don't have to go through that one part of the local grocery store at Christmas time when they've got the big displays and the Jack Daniels. I don't have to do that anymore because I know what that's going to mean to me. I don't have to go to that party during the holidays where people are going to go hard. And if I do, I'll go early because that's where the good roast beef is anyway. You're going to get that. I like to use humor. I can tell you really got that one. Thanks. And finally, the last thing I want to tell you about why my life in recovery is like this pencil is, once I get it sharpened and keep it sharpened, and once I erase my mistakes and turn them into lessons, I can write my own story. We can never go back. We can never go back and be who we were or to correct the things that we've done, but we can start now and change the ending. Thank you very much. My name is Marc Lee Shannon. Thanks to Gibson, all the folks at Gibson for bringing this. Thank you for my recovery day.